My dear brothers and sisters, I want you to ask yourself something very quietly. That heartbreak, that delay, that dream that keeps repeating, what if it wasn't just life happening? What if it was a message from the one who's been speaking to your soul, not through words, but through silence, pain, and timing? The message begins the moment this world stops making sense to you. Have you ever just paused in the middle of your day and felt like something is deeply off? Like everyone else around you seems fine, laughing, moving on, living their lives, but you feel like you're just existing. You smile when you're supposed to. You reply to messages. You try your best to stay strong. But inside, it's like your soul is somewhere else. Not sad, not broken, just distant. You're not being dramatic. You're not lazy. And you're definitely not weak. That feeling you keep trying to ignore, that ache that comes late at night when the world goes quiet, that sudden wave of emptiness that you can't explain to anyone. It's not confusion. It's not mental exhaustion. It's a message that your soul is whispering on behalf of its creator. Because when your life starts to look the same, but feel heavier, it means something inside you has changed. It means Allah is gently showing you that you're no longer meant to stay where you are. You see, we build our lives like houses, brick by brick, routine by routine. We find comfort in familiar things, the same people, the same goals, the same habits. But one day, the house that once felt safe starts to feel like a cage. And that's the moment. The moment Allah begins to speak through stillness. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not even obvious. It's a subtle disconnection. A whisper that says, this version of your life was good for who you were, but not for who I'm turning you into. Because here's what most people don't realize. Growth doesn't always start with motivation. Sometimes it starts with discomfort. Allah won't always pull you out of a place by force. Sometimes He lets your heart grow restless. He lets your chest feel tight in places where you used to feel peace. He lets conversations feel shallow. He lets you wake up feeling like something is missing even if everything around you looks fine. Why? Because He knows if you're too comfortable, you'll never move. So He removes the comfort and replaces it with spiritual tension. It's His way of calling you higher, of preparing your heart for a life you didn't even know you were capable of living. So, if your days have started feeling dull, if your heart feels out of sync with your surroundings, if you feel tired, but not just physically tired in your soul, don't ignore it. That's not burnout. That's not depression. That's not just stress. That's a sacred signal, a divine invitation, a message from Allah that He's calling you out of who you were and guiding you toward who He created you to be. Allah doesn't wait for you to collapse before He sends you signs. He starts speaking the moment you're still enough to notice what no one else sees. And that quiet ache in your chest, that discomfort you feel in your spirit, it's not weakness. It's the soul saying, I'm ready to grow, but I can't do it here. Not in this environment, not in this mindset, not with this routine. It's not a breakdown. It's a spiritual breakthrough. You're not being broken. You're being rewritten. And Allah is the one guiding that shift. So take a breath, pause, reflect. Don't run from the discomfort. Don't numb it. Don't silence it. Don't explain it away. Sit with it. Because it's not your enemy. It's a messenger. And the message is this: you've outgrown this level of your life. I have more for you. But you must listen with your soul. And the moment you start to listen is the moment your real journey begins. The one you thought was your answer was just Allah's way of awakening you You thought they were the answer, the gift, the one who would finally bring peace to your heart. You made dua and they entered your life. You smiled more. You felt seen. You thought, this is it. This is what I was waiting for. Everything about them felt like a blessing until it didn't. Until things started to shift. Their tone changed. Their presence faded. And the one who felt like a dream slowly became your deepest pain. You asked yourself, what happened? How could Allah give me something so beautiful and then take it away? But my beloved, what if they weren't the destination at all? What if they were just the awakening? Because not every beautiful thing is meant to stay. Some people are written into your life not to complete your journey, but to expose the parts of you that needed healing. They were a mirror, not a soulmate. They were the turning point, not the ending. You didn't lose them. You were shown something through them, through the love, through the closeness, through the disappointment. Allah was showing you things you would have never seen on your own. He was teaching you, this is how deeply you can feel. This is where your wounds live. This is the part of you that still needs me more than anyone else. You see, sometimes Allah allows someone to enter your life, not to stay forever, but to shake your heart awake. Because without that person, you wouldn't have looked inward. You wouldn't have questioned your patterns. You wouldn't have noticed what you were settling for. That person who pulled away was pulling you back to Allah, back to your center, back to your real worth. And yes, I know it hurt. It still does. You gave so much. You trusted. You believed in what could have been. But Allah doesn't waste tears. He doesn't let your heartbreak be in vain. Sometimes He gives us a glimpse of something beautiful, so that when it's taken, we start longing for the source of all beauty, not the temporary reflections of it. Because no person, no matter how perfect they seem, can give you the kind of peace your soul is truly craving. That type of peace only comes when you build your closeness with Allah first. And maybe that was the real message all along. They didn't come to heal you. They came to reveal you, to show you the cracks you'd hidden, to uncover the loneliness you buried, to trigger the du'as you hadn't prayed in years. They were never the answer. They were the reason you started asking the right questions. And now that they're gone, you're still here, still breathing, still standing. But this time you're not relying on someone else to complete you. You're learning that your wholeness was never meant to come from anyone's presence, but from Allah's love. Maybe you thought you lost something special, but in reality you gained a clearer heart, a deeper connection with your Lord, a stronger sense of self. And maybe one day you'll look back and whisper, Ya Allah, thank you for removing what I couldn't. Thank you for saving me from what I kept calling love. Thank you for showing me that my pain was actually my protection. This isn't the end of your story. It's the pivot. The moment your soul stopped chasing what wasn't written, the moment you turned inward and upward, and who knows, maybe Allah will write someone better. Someone who loves your soul because they love your Rabb. Someone who doesn't complete your deen, but joins you in strengthening it. But even if they never come, even if no one else fills that space, you'll still be whole. Because now you've learned that heartbreak doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're finally awake. And sometimes that's the only reason Allah sends someone not to stay, but to awaken you. The regret you felt after that sin wasn't just guilt. It was a divine reminder that you were meant for more. You did something you weren't proud of. You knew it was wrong, maybe even as you were doing it, but something in you still went ahead. You gave in. You slipped. You crossed a line. You told yourself you'd never cross again. And the moment it was over, came silence. Not from people, but from within. A heaviness settled in your chest. You couldn't look at yourself the same. You avoided mirrors. You avoided dua. You even avoided your own thoughts. That moment right there felt like you had ruined everything. You whispered, Ya Allah, what have I done? And then came the regret. But listen to me, my beloved, that regret was not just guilt. That ache in your chest was not just shame. That moment where you wanted to hide from the world was actually the moment Allah was calling you back. Because if you still felt something, if your heart still ached after what you did, it means your soul is still alive. And that's the real message. Allah hasn't turned away from you. He's turning you back to Him. You see, anyone can sin, but not everyone feels regret. Not everyone feels their soul tighten after a mistake. Not everyone says, I wish I hadn't done that, with tears in their eyes. That's a sign. That's your fitrah still working. That's your connection to Allah still pulsing underneath the guilt. And sometimes it takes falling to realize just how much you need Him. Don't you know what the Prophet ﷺ said? Every son of Adam sins, and the best of those who sin are those who repent. Subhanallah. He didn't say the best are those who never fall. He said the best are those who return. Your return is what makes you beloved. Not your perfection, not your reputation, but your sincerity in coming back. Shaitan wants you to believe that your sin defines you. He whispers, look what you did, you're a hypocrite. You'll never be close to Allah now. You might as well stop trying. But Allah whispers the opposite. Oh my servant, come back. I know what you did, and I still want you, because His mercy doesn't end when you sin. It begins when you regret. That regret is not a weakness, it's a strength. It means your heart is still capable of change. It means your soul hasn't given up. It means your story is still being written. And let me tell you something beautiful. Some of the strongest servants of Allah were once deeply broken. Umar ibn al-Khattab, once an enemy of Islam. Khalid ibn al-Walid, fought against the Prophet ﷺ before becoming one of the greatest warriors for Islam. Allah doesn't just accept the broken. He honors them when they return with sincerity. So don't let this moment define you. Let it refine you. That sin you're crying over right now, it may be the very thing that humbles you, that softens you, that makes you more compassionate, more forgiving, more awake. Because some people pray for years but never feel Allah the way a sinner does in the moment of true tawbah. That kind of connection comes only when your soul is raw, when your heart is cracked open, when you kneel in sujood with no words, just tears, and you say, Ya Allah, I miss you, I need you, I've lost myself. And Allah replies, without anger, without punishment, without rejection. He replies through mercy, through peace, through silence that calms the storm inside. You're not too far gone. You're not disqualified. You're not dirty. You're human. And being human means falling, but also being capable of rising again. So don't let shaitan hold you in that place of regret. Use it. Use the pain to push you closer to Allah than you've ever been. Because the worst sin is not the one you committed. It's believing that Allah can't forgive it. And the most beautiful transformation begins when you realize, I was never meant to stay down here. This fall was the path back to Him. When Allah closes a door, it's because that path would have damaged who you're meant to become. You had it all planned. You made dua sincerely. You trusted. You waited. You told yourself, if this happens, it will complete my story. You thought that job, that person, that opportunity was the one. Everything was moving in the right direction. It felt close. It felt written. You even saw signs that made your heart believe it was finally time. And then the door closed. Suddenly, sharply, without warning, and you stood there not just confused but shattered, as if a piece of your soul had just been locked out of its own future. You asked yourself, why would Allah bring me this far just to let it collapse? Why did it feel so real, so close, so perfectly aligned if it wasn't meant to be? And here's the answer, my dear brother, my dear sister, because Allah saw what you couldn't. He saw what was hidden behind that door. He saw the version of you that would have been hurt, distracted, maybe even destroyed if you had walked through it. He saw how tightly your soul was about to be tied to something temporary, something that would have taken you further from Him even if you thought it was good. You see, sometimes we ask Allah for something and He gives us signs and momentum and hope, not to tease us, but to test us, to see if we will still trust Him, even when the thing we wanted most is suddenly gone. Because not every opportunity is a gift. Some are traps wrapped in ease. Some are delays that look like blessings but would have destroyed your peace. And some are people who were never meant to love the soul Allah placed in you. That door didn't close because you weren't good enough. It didn't close because you didn't make enough dua. It didn't close because Allah forgot about you. It closed because that path would have damaged who you're meant to become. Because Allah isn't just writing your next step, He's protecting your entire future. He knows the you that you're still growing into. He knows the strength that needs to be built. He knows the purpose that hasn't awakened yet. And He knows which doors would have kept you too busy to ever meet that version of you. So when He blocks something, He's not saying no to your happiness. He's saying yes to your growth. And sometimes the way Allah saves you is by making something fall apart that you were trying so hard to hold together. Let it fall, because what He builds from your heartbreak will always be stronger than what you built from hope. You may not understand it now. It may feel unfair. It may feel like a punishment. It may feel like you're back at zero, but you're not. You're actually standing in front of a clean slate, a divine reset, a space where Allah is about to write something better than what you prayed for. Something that will not just please your heart, but protect your soul. Because the goal of this life is not to get what we want. It's to become who Allah created us to be. And sometimes what we want stands in the way of that. So He removes it. Not cruelly, not randomly, but lovingly. And you'll know it one day when you look back and say, Subhanallah, if that door had stayed open, I would have lost myself inside it. Ya Allah, thank You for protecting me from what I kept asking for. Thank You for the no that saved my deen. You're not behind. You're not being punished. You're not forgotten. You are being redirected. And every detour that hurts is designed to guide you back to what's real. So wipe your tears, take a deep breath, and whisper with your heart, Ya Allah, if it wasn't mine, I trust You. Even if it broke me, I know You're rebuilding me. Even if I don't understand now, I believe You saw something I didn't. And that is enough. Because with Allah, every closed door is mercy wearing disguise. The silence you feel is where Allah speaks without distractions. You've been waiting for something to change, for someone to reach out, for a dua to be answered, for a sign to appear, but nothing is happening. The people you used to hear from don't call anymore. The excitement you once felt isn't there. The connection you had in your salah feels distant. And now you sit with a silence that feels heavier than noise. It feels like Allah has gone quiet. Like the heavens that once felt so close have stopped responding. And your heart, though beating, feels like it's whispering, where is everyone? Where is Allah? But my dear brother, my dear sister, listen closely. Because silence doesn't mean absence. Silence is not a punishment. Silence is one of the most sacred conversations you'll ever have with your Lord. You see, when life is loud, when everything is moving quickly, we don't always hear what's happening inside. The noise outside distracts us. It drowns the sound of our own soul. So Allah, in His mercy, begins to quiet your world. He slows it down. He pulls people away. He pauses opportunities. He delays answers. Not because He's gone, but because He wants you to hear something deeper. He wants you to hear Him. And sometimes the only way you'll truly hear Allah's message is when everything else becomes silent. Because when you're surrounded by people, you listen to them. When you're surrounded by distractions, you follow them. But when you're finally alone,